like to thank the member who just resumes his seat for a genuine, engaging and humorous address. If only he could have done that a few years ago, he might still be the leader of the Labor Party, but such as things go. Mr Chair, I'd like to address my comments to a couple of provisions that have already been widely debated by members tonight. And I'd like to pick up with some comments that Catherine Delahunty made, that every student is different and that one size cannot fit all, and it is the role of the education system to bring out the greatest potential in every single student, something that Peter Fraser, that great Labor Party education minister, was so fond of eloquently saying. And when we come to part one of this bill, there are several aspects of it that are very much in pursuit of that objective. Because, Mr Chair, we in this House do not know precisely what each and every child needs. When we talk about evidence-based, what we're often talking about is statistical methods of trying to establish what the average child needs, not allowing communities to use the knowledge they have about what their child needs. And we heard, so I agree with Catherine Delahunty in her empathy for each and every child being different and special and needing to be educated to the greatest of their potential, as the great Peter Fraser once said. But Jenny Salisa might want to ask herself why it is that so many Pacifica groups and so many Pacific parents are enrolling themselves at partnership schools Kurahotua. That is the answer to the Honourable David Cunliffe's question of why do we have partnership schools Kurahotua. That we have them because, in the first instance, community groups no longer satisfied with the service they're getting from the state school network go to considerable effort to put in applications and establish the school. And in the second instance, the parents of those children come along and enrol their children to attend the school. And I just submit to members opposite that they might get a little bit above 26% if they were prepared to resonate with and listen to the communities who are making their choice, even in the members who have been speaking's own electorates. Mr Chair, the part of this bill that enables a principal to operate several schools was touched on by Jenny Salisa. And Jenny Salisa said she was aware of a principal who no doubt is a hard-working, noble, empathic principal who goes well above and beyond the call of duty in her job, and the kind of principal that all of us should be very grateful to have here in New Zealand, because we know, to the extent that we want to take aggregate evidence, that the quality of school leadership is one of the most important determinants of how our children will succeed in times to come. And it might be, if we were to alter Jenny Salisa's anecdote or thought experiment just a little bit, what if such a wonderful principal was actually ambitious to extend and expand her school skills to a second school and help more children? What is so special about the number 800, the number of pupils that Jenny Salisa tells us in that particular school? I have schools in my electorate, Mr Chair, that have 2,400 students and more, and 2,400 is 3 times 800. Now, is it the case that that principal has too few students, or is it the case that the principals of those schools have too many? And what on earth is the government going to do about it? Surely the most important thing the government can do is actually allow choice and allow people to use their local knowledge. There may well be principals who wish to look after several schools and extend their knowledge and help even more children. And what exactly is wrong with that? Why would we ban people from having a particular freedom just because not everyone wants to use it? Did we hear any members of the Labor Party using that kind of argument when we had the marriage equality debate? I should certainly not hope so. This bill is about enabling people to use their freedoms to better educate children. And then we come to another section of Part 1 subpart 8, which enables, and let's just focus on that, Mr. Chair.
David Seymour.
Which enables, and let's focus on that word for a moment, members, enables tertiary institutions to use or become sponsors of partnership schools. And we heard Tracy Martin say that she believes that there are good examples of schools that are run in parallel or in combination with tertiary institutions where the exchange of information and knowledge between the tertiary institution and the compulsory sector school actually benefits the students. And that's another word that members opposite should focus on. Let's just tally up a few words here. Enable and benefit the students. This is what education is supposed to be about. So why would it be so bad if, for instance, Stuart Middleton or any of the other universities or tertiary institutions in New Zealand were able to open a partnership school and start helping New Zealand's children in a wider range of ways? Well, we heard from David Cunliffe. Actually, he was guilty of misleading the House, whether he meant to or not, when he said that partnership schools, kura haurua, receive...
Point of order, Chris Hipkins.
But I know he's relatively new, but he should know that that's an unacceptable thing for him to say, and I'm sure that you know that that's an unacceptable thing for him to say.
No, I don't. I see that this is a fairly robust debate. He's made an accusation. I've heard many accusations made from across the House during committee stages about all sorts of things that I haven't found in favour of the member's point of order, and I'll call on David Seymour to continue. Point of order, the Honourable David Cunliffe.
Mr. Chairman, I'm pretty devastated by that remark on two counts. Firstly, that I might have misled the House, and secondly, that might have been unwitting. I would ask you to take that into account and ask him to withdraw and apologise.
Well, I note that the member has said that he hasn't taken offence, which is good, because I don't see how he could, bearing in mind the robust debate and the speech that he made earlier. I call on David Seymour.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and for the record, the member was not unwitting, but what he said was that partnership schools receive 5 times as much funding as other schools, and any reasonable member of the House who believed the moniker Honourable before the name of David Cunliffe might have come to believe that partnership schools are deliberately funded at a higher rate than other schools. Well, Mr. Chair, that is simply not true, and the official information is out there that partnership schools are not funded $1 more nor $1 less than a state school with the same students. Some members will disingenuously mislead the public that because most partnership schools are new and all schools get additional funding in their early years as they grow, that somehow they are receiving more money that way. But that, Mr. Chair, simply is not the truth, and it would be better for the quality of public policy debate and for the education of New Zealand's children if the Labour Party could focus their debate on the facts rather than inventing their own facts when the real ones don't suit them. But, Mr. Chair, tertiary institutions sponsoring partnership schools will be an enormous advance for education in New Zealand, and I'm very proud to see that in this bill. In the short remaining time I have, I'd also like to speak to the supplementary order paper number 220, which would bring actual practice, or at least bring the legislation into line with actual practice. Mr. Chair, an important part of the partnership school policy is the Partnership Schools Authorisation Board. That is the place that people in the community, including Sir William Seo's community, including Jenny Solis's community, including Carmel Sepuloni's community, all of which have had applicants from... No, I'm telling the member that people from within her community know what is good for them and have chosen to make an application, and they make that application with the Partnership School Authorisation Board. And that member should stop telling people in her community what's good for them, because they know what's good for themselves, and they are applying to operate partnership schools at the Partnership School Authorisation Board. Try a bit of empathy, the polls might go up. Mr. Chair, the fact of the matter is that this policy depends on having a clearly signposted, professional, robust process that applicants who wish to open partnership schools can enter into and be approved if they have sufficient quality. Where there have been difficulties with charter school policies overseas, it has often stemmed from poor quality authorisation. In the past, in the legislation, it only requires one member of the Partnership School Authorisation Board. Legislation should reflect real practice, and in real practice, one member is not sufficient to carry out the processes that I've just described, and that is why I'm advancing a supplementary order paper which will change the legislative requirement to have 5 to 9 members of the Partnership School Authorisation Board rather than merely one. In conclusion, Mr Chair, this really has been a debate about one side of the House who would like to enable educators to have a wider range of permutations of arrangements for helping children, and the other side who can see only the worst in giving people freedom and giving communities choices. Mr Chair, I'm very proud to stand on this side of the House where we believe in communities, we believe in education, we believe in freedom, and we're not afraid of it. Thank you, Mr Chair.
The Honourable